let's talk about our first adventure in the bus. We talked a little bit after our day one disaster and our breakdown. We made it to Iowa, saw Dakota's grandma, and then from there we had to get out to Acadia National Park in Maine. So we booked it across a ton of states at a pretty decent pace. We only stopped at one state park. That was Watkins Glen State Park in New York. But yeah,
I was going to say, yeah, so far that's been my favorite stop that we've made, because I don't know if it was just because it was the first stop and it was kind of the hike that we were, or that at least I thought was like, this is why we built the bus, so we can go see cool places like this. So maybe that's part of it, but at the same time, I think it was just a super cool state park too, and I think we picked the right
beautiful
entrance. I don't know what entrance it was.
I think it was just the main entrance.
The main entrance?
There's like the main entrance, and then I think there's the campground entrance, and they also have like a south entrance, but we were on the east side of the gorge when we went in, and that's kind of the main entrance.
That's the entrance to go in, because I thought when we walked up and you just kind of see the big rock face, that by itself was amazing. And then we were there during fall, so the leaves from up above were falling down, kind of like snowing leaves, and then you walk and it's in the first 5 minutes of your walk or less that you're already seeing waterfalls and stuff. So
it was just a constant rain of yellow and orange and red from all the leaves. It was so beautiful. And yeah, we both loved the gorge. There was a section called Frowning Cliff that I ended up really loving, because you could see all the different layers really well, and there was small little trickles of waterfalls, and then some of the main falls. Rainbow Falls is the one that ends up on all their postcards that most people see, and you really enjoyed that one. It's kind of got the bridge going across the fall. Very beautiful.
Yeah. I also like that it was a bit more contained too, that it felt like we saw a good majority of the park in that 2 days that we did it, kind of more like a day and an evening, but it didn't seem like overwhelming or anything, as you could go back and go to those favorite spots where I feel like in some of the bigger parks, like we'll talk about, you see the spot and then there's so much of the park that you didn't see. So I don't know if that's just kind of my wanting to like complete a park that also felt
it's like
good.
Collecting, you gotta see all the spots.
Right. So
yeah, we got to walk the top of the gorge on the outside, and then went down in, and then walked inside the gorge back. So we did a majority of the park.
Yeah, but it also was nice enough that I could have spent several more days even just walking those same paths, because it was so pretty. But
it wasn't super busy, but also it was, I mean, we were like, it's so pretty. It was raining, but we had a great time.
It was only raining the first day, wasn't it? The second day wasn't raining. Or, no.
No, yeah, it didn't rain. It was just the first day.
Yeah. So, yeah. Second day was okay. First day we were pretty wet, but it was only a short hike that day.
How was it getting out there, though?
Not awful, especially after the day one disaster. It was pretty much uphill from there. The longer drives are not super fun, so we tried to keep it to like 4-ish hours a day, right? Like 4 or 5.
We had to do a couple of like 5 or 6 hour days in order to make it out there at the pace we wanted, but yeah.
Realized that driving at night is really not that fun in the bus. I don't know if we need brighter headlights or what, but
they seem like they might be angled up too much. We're going to have to ask about it.
We'll fix that or something, because it is a bit stressful. But yeah, staying at truck stops wasn't awful. It definitely wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to be way louder, and it really wasn't that bad. You still hear the trucks and stuff moving, but I still feel like we got a decent night's sleep. I still would prefer to stay in like a Walmart parking lot, but there's going to be noises at either one of them.
Yeah, I think we stayed at a rest stop like right off the highway, and it's like another like service stop plaza right off the highway too. I felt like I was a little bit more relaxed, because when you hear stuff moving outside the bus, you're like, that's just people coming and going. Like, it's not as worrisome. Like, you're like, everybody's just coming in, getting some sleep, and then heading out. But when I think we did one Loves at one point. Didn't we?
No.
No?
I don't know.
With the further you get away from the highway, when we stayed at a Cracker Barrel, at a Cracker Barrel, and when you pull off the highway and up to go into the Cracker Barrel, it's a bit quieter. Even with people coming and going from the parking lot, then it's less of the semis that are coming and going, and that's kind of the louder thing.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I think probably Cracker Barrel is probably the nicer of all the places we've stayed, because it seems like every time we go to any of the Walmarts we've been in, there's always somebody that's got to show off how loud their truck is at 3 a.m. and that just, something like that, where they always bring their loud cars. But then, like you said, it's kind of, there's a little bit of the stress of, is somebody going to come and knock on our door, even though we've checked and nobody should be telling us to move. But I don't feel that when we're at a Cracker Barrel, because Cracker Barrel lets you stay there.
And we have had, we did miss signs at one Walmart. This wasn't on the way out to Acadia, but it was after. And we just randomly the next day, after spending the night there with no issues, the next day towards the late afternoon, evening, we noticed that we had a paper shoved in one of our side mirrors that said, no overnight parking, violators will be towed. And we're like, I don't know how you're going to tow this thing, but I will see. Also, we're inside it. Why, we never got a knock.
Yeah.
No one knocked while we were there, and we were there the whole time.
Well, that was the Walmart that was on fire the night we got there too.
Yeah, they had a whole stressful situation. So maybe that's why they didn't notice us the first night.
Probably. They had other things to worry about.
But yeah, I guess we could have gotten in trouble. We might have gotten, I don't know. A couple times we've parked a couple places where we've been like, I guess we'll get our first knock and get it out of the way. But no, we still haven't. Still haven't had a single person knock and tell us to move yet.
But after the trip, we got out there we got there a day or two early to Maine in Acadia, so we stopped at the Walmart, and that Walmart was pretty much just a campground, because I think the one night I counted over 30 different buses and vans and campers and things like that, because the whole back half of the parking lot was all some sort of camping.
And that's not even counting all the people who pulled in and car camped as well.
True. Yeah, because I wasn't sure who all was staying in those cars, but yeah, very, I don't know, it seemed pretty nice to be somewhere where it was there was almost their own little bus van community. And then the Walmart itself was one of the nicer ones too, with just the options for campers. And
yeah, they had tons of RVing equipment and hiking equipment. We picked up some better blocks to be able to level out easier. That was very nice. And we even had somebody come from a schoolie that they were in and check on us and say hi, and we met Ace, and so yeah, it was we're already starting to see a little bit more of the community, got on a Facebook page with a group of them, so we were definitely at our first I guess nomad stop. I guess a lot of people like going to Acadia, so that's they said it's one of the most visited national parks in the country, so and we were there in fall, so we were there during a very popular season.
Yeah. And then after that, so we stayed there for a couple nights, and then we went to the campground that we were meeting Kate and David at. That was
the Flying Ostriches.
Yeah, that was a very good camp. That was a good find for a campground, because we were right on the water and had all of our hookups. And
yeah, it was kind of expensive. It was a KOA, which I think people typically have a membership to KOA, and then you can kind of reserve your spots there. But we just bought a couple of nights there. That way we knew we would have plenty of electric and showers and everything, so that the four of us would all be comfortable, because the bus, we just started and we didn't know if the bus would be comfortable for four people, and it was very nice. It was very nice to be able to have a spot to have a fire each night, and just know that we could come back to the bus each night and relax. And they came in a rental car, so we took the car into the park and had a really good time. We had a good time. We didn't follow hiker protocol the way that we should have the first day. We got a little cocky. We were just enjoying walking the bike trail, seeing all the leaves, and we should have gotten onto a shorter hiking trail a lot sooner. So by the time we got to the Jordan Pond, which was supposed to be our halfway point, it was way too late in the day, and we knew we needed to get back, but we decided to stop at the Jordan Pond house, and we had some food, kind of talked with the staff there saw if we should be getting a taxi back, what were our options, or if we should just hike back, and we settled on hiking back, and and we really thought we were being smart by taking the shortest path back to our car. Only the shortest path was up Penobscot Mountain and back down.
We didn't account for how long it takes to hike a mountain. Because we started. When did we leave the restaurant? Was it
3 or 4? Between 3 and 4.
Probably 3. We'll say like 3, because that sounds safer.
Well, no, because it was only like 3 miles to get back, and we were like, we can do 3 miles in a couple of hours, and sunset was around 6.
Okay, 6.
So we were like, if we're leaving a little before 4, couple hours, we'll be good. We'll be getting back right before it gets dark. No.
We got to see a lovely sunset from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, we were quickly traversing down the mountain. We got to the top, really enjoyed it. The sun was a little bit above the horizon. It was almost sunset. It was very beautiful. The hike up was definitely a little scarier than we thought. Penny did a great job with it.
Yeah.
We all had a good time. We saw a wolverine, even though they're not native to the area. Yeah. We're convinced we saw one, though.
It was for sure a wolverine. There's nothing else that it would have been, because it definitely wasn't a badger. Way too small to be a bear. I don't think there's anything else. If you know the wildlife in Maine and you think it's something other than a wolverine, let me know, and I'll tell you you're wrong. But that was kind of cool. I didn't get my phone out fast enough. I was kind of more worried about it turning and trying to eat Penny or something. But that would have been cool to get a picture of it. But
she did a great job of ignoring it.
Yeah, she wasn't bothered by it.
She was like, you just made me hike up a mountain. I'm exhausted. I don't care about anything that's up here. Just let me chill. Mm-hmm. And we said, nope, Penny, we got to go down the mountain now. Yeah. She was not happy about that. At one point we crossed a creek and she was like, just let me bathe, and just wanted to dive right in. We had to pull her past it. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed our sunset. It was beautiful, but we spent very little time at the top, and then we had to get down because the sun was setting and we were desperate to get through the hardest part with all the steeper part of the descent with all the rocks before we lost all of our sunlight. Because at that point we knew we're going to be in the dark for a little bit. Yep. And we want to have to use flashlights for as little as possible. Mm-hmm. And also, we were really hoping that nobody got injured on the way down. We were like, this is not how you're supposed to do this. We were going down that mountain knowing we had not prepared properly.
Yeah. Penny got a little bit of scraped up paws, but that was kind of the worst injury of the whole.
So she ended up wearing socks down.
Yep.
Poor girl.
She made it. We made it. We were, kind of checking all of our phone batteries to make sure that our phones weren't gonna die, so we'd have flashlights.
Shout out to Kate for being a fantastic navigator on the way down. She did a great job of helping us follow our paths. I had the paper map, but then she also used her phone to make sure when we got to certain points that we didn't accidentally stray. So that definitely helped us. But yeah, we raced down until it got dark, and then from that point it was flashlight in the front and us all just following each other's feet down the path until we eventually made it back onto the bike path and then finished off back to our car on the bike path. And then we all took a very deep breath when we got to the car and ate some chocolate chip cookies and then
lived to tell the tale.
And lived to tell the tale. Then went back to this beautiful bus for some spicy chili.
Yeah. Next day was a lot more just chill, not really trying to do any more hikes, because I think, at least I was pretty blistered from that first hike. Penny needed to recover. I don't know if you had too many blisters, but...
That was pretty good.
Okay. I think we just kind of chilled that day, and then the next day we went to Jordan Pond again.
No, it was the next day.
Oh, that was the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 2 days with them, so we were like, let's go walk around Jordan Pond. We'll just do the bottom loop. And then we ended up just really enjoying sitting on the rocks and chatting, and staring out over the pond until sunset. It was very nice.
I think everybody was happy to just enjoy the scenery without having to walk around the scenery. A little bit more relaxed, a lot more chatting. But then we went back the next day or 2 days later to do the loop again around the pond. So that was just like an early morning, a lot quicker than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, only took an hour, hour and a half, not even.
Because we stayed in the Acadia area for another few days just at the Walmart instead of the campground after we were done there. And that was still pretty nice.
Then on our own, we also did the Jordan Cliff Trail and went up the side of Penobscot and got to see kind of some higher overlooks of Jordan Pond, and that was and that trail had ladders and stuff. Penny stayed behind for that one because that one was not dog friendly. It was right on the edge of the cliff and had some iron rung ladders that you had to climb along the edges, and it was a very fun trail.
Yeah, she definitely wouldn't be able, even just like the easier like steps were super duper narrow, she probably would have slipped off that. It was a bit sketchy with just the cliff edge is what you're walking on.
And maybe that's normal. Maybe that's normal in a lot of national parks, but we're really new to it, so it was definitely a shock. I mean, that was the big joke with Kate and David when we went on that trail with them, is that we were like, how is this a trail? Because, I mean, we're used to the state parks around Wisconsin that we had been to, which are very pounded down.
Kind of wider, not really weaving through the trees. And
where you're not even fully sure what's a path until you see the markers on the trees.
But I think that was my first national park I think I've ever been to, so that was kind of cool.
But we decided to finish out our time at the Ocean Path Trail. We went to Sand Beach, walked down through Thunder Hole to Otter Point Lookout, and we brought a lunch with us and ate down there, and then walked back up and enjoyed the beach for the evening. Yeah,
I almost didn't even remember that was the same park. That seems like completely different because we went from forest and mountains to then the ocean, and that was really cool to get to sit down on the beach and watch the waves. Have Penny, she was a little nervous about the waves, but she got used to it.
Yeah, she's a landlocked dog, so that was her first experience with really big waves, and a poor man walking by she blamed for the waves at one point. He got behind her right as a wave crashed, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're responsible for this. Stop messing with me." And then she figured it out. Then she was like, "Oh, okay."
That's probably her first time seeing the ocean, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple people polar plunged, and she was very concerned for them. She was absolutely shocked that they came back and they weren't just swallowed up forever. But we had a really good time on the beach. That was really nice. After that, we wrapped up our time at Acadia, and we knew that it was time to get moving. Things were starting to get really cold, and we needed to make our way to New Jersey for a convention that we had a booth at.
Let us know if you have any questions about the rest of our Acadia trip, and stay tuned for our adventures going to New Jersey for the convention.